The No Nonsense Roundtable. It's a weekly show broadcast on Rochester, New York's 50,000-watt iHeart radio station, News Radio Wham 1180. The host, Dom Geneva, interviews guests from all walks of life, all with amazing stories to tell. What you are about to hear is a recording of a previous broadcast without the breaks and commercials. Now, here's host Dom Geneva.
Well, welcome to another edition of the No Nonsense Roundtable. I'm Dom Geneva, your host, every Saturday right here on News Radio Wham 1180. And today we have JoAnne Ryan, President and CEO of the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Rochester, an organization that you need to know more about. So welcome, JoAnne. How are you?
I am well, Dom. Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming into the studio. I think the Ronald McDonald House Charities is something that we know the title of. We see maybe some of the stuff that you do, but I think there's a lot of depth to the organization that people aren't really aware of, and we're going to get into that and what makes it such a worthwhile charity, because I really do hear very good things about Ronald McDonald's House. Oh, it's such a great place. Oh, they do this and they do that. But we need to educate people exactly to what a lot of that means, I think.
Well, thank you for that opportunity, because it is an amazing mission, and very fortunate to be there.
Well, first thing I like to do is I like to get a little bit of a story about the people that I'm interviewing and how their path in life. So tell me a little bit about your path in life. What did, the question I always like to ask people is, what did you want to do when you were 10 years old? What was your path?
Well, interestingly enough, if I think about what I wanted to do around 9, was I wanted to be a nurse. So I knew back then there were nurses in our family, and I just loved listening to their stories, would hang on their every word. So that was sort of my trajectory. And I indeed went on to be a nurse. That's my background and my training. Was at Rochester Regional for about 24 years. Wow. At different leadership roles. And then had an opportunity to actually step into the role of not-for-profit and became the president and CEO of another local not-for-profit. And loved that. Got to see delivering care in a completely different capacity and being really close to mission. And that really won my heart. I had a couple other opportunities, consulted for a while, started to help be a founder of a software company, which was really a left-hand turn, because if anyone knows me, they know that my phone confounds me on any given day. So, but that was a great, again, way to serve not-for-profits. It was a platform that helps to do just that. This opportunity at Ronald McDonald House really just sort of fell from the sky. There was an opening and a board member had reached out, and I was very fortunate. The timing was just right. So this mission spoke to my heart. It was one that I always loved. Starting in nursing, I saw that there was a need long before Ronald McDonald existed as a way to serve families that were in crisis.
So was there a particular type of nursing you were doing?
It's funny. I started out in a special care nursery for preemies, and I ended up actually working with seniors. So I had the beauty of experiencing the whole continuum of care. So back then, in that special care nursery, I was part of the team that actually helped get the babies ready for transfer to a higher level of care, and stayed behind with the moms as the dad decided whether to stay with the mother of his child or go off with the baby. There was no Ronald McDonald House at the time, so families had to be separated at a very significant moment of crisis.
That's interesting. Now, we'll talk more about that in a second, but the question this compels is that, so you were nursing and then you made a jump to, how did you make that transition from nursing into what you did?
Actually, again, I'm very fortunate, have had wonderful opportunities from the regard of either just timing or relationships and networking. And the not-for-profit prior to this one was actually one that had a very powerful mission here in the local area as well. And it was serving at a capacity where it got to utilize my nursing background, but it was really cutting edge because it was mission-driven.
So the question that I have is that did you reach out to this organization? Did they reach out to you? How do you make that transition? Because that seems like quite a jump.
It was really a timing. The position was available, and again, someone from the community reached out and said, "JoAnne, you should think about this." And in that time frame, it really wasn't looking, which was really one of the gifts I've been given, is the opportunity for the perfect alignment of availability and interest. And every position that I've really loved, I didn't have to look for. It kind of found me. So I've been very blessed that way.
Let's talk about the history of the Ronald McDonald House. Now, this is a big organization with local chapters, or whatever you would call it?
Yes. Actually, it's a global mission. There are 387 chapters in 65 countries. And the power of that is we all serve one mission, and that's keeping families close while children are in care.
And what's the geographic area that Rochester serves?
So Rochester, actually, which is interesting, part of the history is that we are our region is defined by our affiliation with the healthcare systems that we serve, and also with McDonald's restaurants that are within a catchment area for us. So I have 11 owner-operators that own 46 stores, and that becomes my region, if you will. However, if a family comes to the Rochester area for care, and they often do because we have such state-of-the-art pediatric care here, they can come from anywhere in the state, they can come from anywhere in the country, they've come from anywhere in the world for care.
So explain a little bit more about the back end of this. I mean, what do you do as far as housing people? Are there a number of different places that you do this? How do people contact you? The services that you provide? Let's go into the actual mechanics of the Ronald McDonald House.
Oh, absolutely. So families come to us through a referral process, typically either through social work or the physician that is their physician of care. We actually have a house within the hospital that has 7 private rooms, 7 ensuite bathrooms, right on the 5th floor of Strong Memorial Hospital, serving our most critical of children and families. We also have a Westmoreland house that has 24 rooms, 24 private ensuite bathrooms, and we have families that are there. Families stay as long as they need to. It is no cost to the family. And we provide food, lodging, and transportation, and we've served about 750 families last year, saving them about $2.5 million.
So are you saying some of these are in the hospital and some of these are outside the hospital in a different facility, or not?
Actually, the patients are all in care, but their families can be either on-site or at the Westmoreland House. We also have sleep rooms at Unity Hospital through Rochester Regional Health, and we have family rooms throughout the city as well. So we are the largest program in New York State by the number of programs that we provide.
Is there any financial requirement for this? Is it available to everybody of all social income levels or not?
Absolutely. And there's no charge to the family. And actually, over 50% of our families are Medicaid recipients. So it covers the whole continuum of anyone who is in need with a child that's receiving care.
And how long has this existed for?
We've been operating for 33 years.
Wow.
Yes. And the actual Ronald McDonald, the very first Ronald McDonald house started in Philadelphia in 1974, so almost a 50-year anniversary coming up.
In 1974, you said?
Correct.
So this has been going on for quite a long time. Now, are there more chapters that are being instituted now? Or?
Absolutely. Every year, chapters are being brought online all over the world.
So what I've learned so far is that the referrals come from the doctors and social workers and whatever. I mean, the general public, I think, doesn't quite know about your organization as much as they really need to. That's
a really good question. And in fact, there are it's not uncommon when I speak publicly to have a few key questions come up. One is that we only serve children with oncology diagnoses. And actually, we serve children that are receiving any care. So a child's family can stay with us if they are in care for trauma, burns, eating disorders, neurology, prematurity, cardiac, any system that has a need to have service in-house from a hospital perspective. Those families are eligible for us. Another misnomer is that we only serve children that are being cared for through the URMC healthcare system, and actually we serve both healthcare systems. And the third thing, which is sometimes a bit of confusion too, is that because of the McDonald's co-branding, that McDonald's underwrites all of our expenses. And they are truly our key supporter of us. But we are our own 501c3, and we are philanthropically supported from the community. We are about 95% based on philanthropic support.
So 95% of the money comes from outside McDonald's?
Yes.
Wow. That's got to be tough.
Well, the beauty of McDonald's for us is that they are our brand, and they help us to move our brand forward. So we have a great opportunity through what is called a Roundup campaign. So if you frequent a McDonald's, you have the opportunity to support our chapter right here locally by just simply rounding up your order.
And that's a brilliant concept, because what I've found lately is that most of the McDonald's have a kiosk, and you go order, which I found, surprisingly enough, I found that very easy to use, and I use it all the time because you can customize your food and everything. So it's anybody who's been to McDonald's, it's it really works. So you can go there, but then they just ask you if you want to round up, and rounding up by an extra couple of cents and whatever is not really painful. But if you're talking about, well, thousands of people a day, I mean, that's got to relate to quite a bit of money, I would think.
It could. It absolutely could. And there's such opportunity there. The really great thing is it stays right here locally, which is, just a wonderful thing for anyone who has a giving heart to know that it's going right back into your community to serve the folks that need it most. That's really a tremendous gift.
I like contributing to organizations where the money stays within the place I live. And so you're saying that if you round up at one of these kiosks, the money stays in the Rochester area.
Correct.
Well, that's a good way to give money. I mean, it's easier doing that than writing a check and whatever. I mean, it's kind of painless. I mean, especially if you're looking at just a few cents here and a few cents there, rounding up to $8. You get your statement from your bank, and it's $8 rather than $7.53.
Right.
I mean, to you, it makes no difference at all, right?
Right. And the really great thing too, in addition to food, transportation, and lodging, we know that minutes matter. Our mission is really to keep the families at the bedside as much as possible. And when families come to us, it is in usually a state of chaos. They have a child they've received a significant diagnosis, or there's been a traumatic event. And now this critical child, and this is where we are we are part of the healthcare team, because while they're receiving care that is life-saving care, we are putting our arms around the family. So supporting their needs so that they don't have any distractions. So any energy that they do have goes right into the care and recovery of their child.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. I mean, anybody who is a parent at all, when there's a situation that's serious with a child, where the child has to stay in the hospital, then you have this added problem of trying to get to the hospital, get there in the morning or the evening, when you're going to do visiting. And let's say there's a call from a doctor that needs to be handled with a parent, and the parent's off campus or miles away. I mean, that's got to be a really big problem. This is one less thing that somebody is dealing with in their lives that they have to deal with. I mean, it sounds like a very worthwhile cause.
Yeah, it's an amazing mission, Dom, and I have an incredible team. They will, on any given day, be celebrating the tiniest of miracles with one family, and then holding a family through some of their most devastating moments. And the ability to meet them where they are is just a very powerful and profound thing to watch. It is a mission, it's sort of a best kept secret.
Yeah.
A little bit of confusion because we are co-branded. But I had a parent one time say, it's not a club anyone wants to be in, but if you have to be in, we're so grateful for the opportunity to be here.
Another question this compels is capacity. I mean, are there are more people in need than rooms you can provide? We're
fortunate right now. We are meeting what we believe to be the current needs, but we are always looking for opportunities for expansion. So one of the things that's on the horizon is we have what we call family rooms, and it's a room that is located in different hospital settings, and families that might not be staying with us overnight but have a child in care can actually just step away for a moment, get a healthy, nutritious snack. We also have showers available. So if you're at the bedside and you haven't been home in days, but you choose to be home, you can come down and take a shower. The beauty of that, again, is just creating for the parents, for the family, a safety net so that they can recharge their own battery and be the very best they can be for that child.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I mean, anybody who's been in a hospital for a while, I mean, you're sitting there and you're pacing, or you're sitting in the waiting room. And you're just basically staring at a wall or looking at a TV all that time. You say someplace where you can get some nutrition and a shower.
Yeah, and laundry facility too. So one of the things that we have heard is that's one of the things that sustains families. Families that are staying with us and families that their child is in care, but they're going back to their own home. We had a great story about, a teenager who was receiving care, and they had a favorite sweatshirt, and that sweatshirt meant the world to them. But after living in it for about 4 days, it needed to be laundered. They didn't have to take it home. They brought it downstairs. They were able to throw it through the washer, dryer, bring it back up. It took just a little effort. And again, their energy is so limited when all you're doing is worrying about whether your child's going to survive this event. So it's our job to clear those barriers.
So how many families a year does your chapter serve?
About 800 families.
Wow.
Yeah. And our average length of stay is 11 days, but we have had families stay with us up to a year. And again, it's completely covered by the chapter.
Wow. That's surprising. Now, you say a lot of the funding comes from the community. I mean, big companies.
We have corporate sponsorships. We have individual donors that have been incredibly loyal for the 33 years. We have events. We have a gala that we have September 30th, and we also have what we call Be a Hero Day, which is a radiothon, which allows for the community to pledge and donate through that event. And then we have wonderful third-party events. These are individuals that have decided to support the charity and have done so for years. And that is very much part of how we are able to deliver care.
Here's a question for you. So some of the bigger companies that donate to you, can you mention some of them?
Sure. Baldwin Richardson is one. Anderson DeBow is one. We have local support from M&T Bank, from Chase. We have local support from various. Wegmans is a supporter of ours. We're very fortunate to have even small businesses that can find a way to have their we would be their charity of choice. Gould Pumps is located in Seneca Falls. They have selected us as their charity of choice. So the beauty of how support can come is that it can be through the individual or it can be through small groups. And we have to invite the community in is called Make a Meal. So our Westmoreland house is over 20,000 square feet. We just have a beautifully renovated kitchen, and corporations come in and prepare a meal for our families. They can do breakfast or dinner. Most of the time our families are in the hospital during the day, but to have a home cooked meal is really a tremendous gift. And it's a great team building. So I encourage community events that or looking for community events that they can come and sponsor their group through us. And it's a great way to support the families.
I would imagine if a company wanted to have a tour of this place, you would let them do that.
Absolutely. Yes.
And how would they contact you?
They can reach us on our website, which is rmhcrochester.org, and or call and ask for me. I am happy to participate in that tour and meet them and thank them personally.
I'm going to let you loose a little bit here and give me some of the history of the organization, all told.
So it's really an interesting history because one of the questions I get is, you're co-branded with McDonald's. How did that happen? So in 1974, Fred Hills, who was the tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles, sadly his daughter Kim at age 3 was diagnosed with leukemia. And as a result of that, the team rallied around he and his wife. And back then there was no house within the hospital or no house to stay in. And so they were staying in uncomfortable chairs at the bedside, sleeping in the lobby, taking turns sleeping in their car just to be close to her for care. The team was incredibly committed to the community. And as a result of that, one of the owners, actually I think it was Len Trost, said, we've got to do something here. So Jim Murray was the general manager of the Eagles at the time. And he turned to him, and the story goes, Jimmy, we got to do something. So Jim Murray had reached out to the actual physician who was caring for Kim, Dr. Audrey Evans, and said, how can we help? And that started the brainstorm around building some space that families could stay in. So Dr. Evans, Jim Murray, and Jim's good friend, a McDonald's owner-operator, actually started the very first three-legged stool of how you will open a chapter. McDonald's, their very first fundraising event was the Shamrock Shake. So the Shamrock Shake goes back to the 1970s. In fact, it was not very popular in the 70s. But in 74, they had branded it as being the charity, the way to build this house. 25 cents is all it cost back then. And they were able to raise enough to buy a 7-bedroom fraternity and turn it into the very first Ronald McDonald house. And the story really is the owner-operator from McDonald's said, if we're going to donate the money, do you think we could call it the Ronald McDonald House? And Jim Murray's response is, you can call it Hamburger Haven if you want. If you're giving us the money, we're going to let you name it. So that actually became the basic of how you can move forward with a chapter development. That's
a great story.
Yeah, it was a great support from a community. And it all started because a little girl was ill.
Yeah. It's worthwhile. And the other thing I like about charities like this is that you know where the money's going.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't want to say anything about derogatory about these vast charities that have so many hands and so many different things, but at least I know where the money's going. The money's going locally, and it's going for a specific thing that as a parent I can look at and I can go, wow, that's I can see how that how that's something that's worthwhile.
And we have the most amazing stories from these families. One, I was probably in my role just a couple weeks, and it was our golf tournament. We had a family sharing their story, and it was this powerful story. At their 12-week check, they had realized that they were carrying their little girl. Their family was going to be complete. They had 2 little boys at home. But within minutes of hearing that good news, they also heard that she had a major cardiac defect and that the likelihood of her living beyond delivery was very, very slim. So imagine that. You're carrying a child, you have 28 weeks in your pregnancy, and the whole time you're preparing to meet your child and lose your child at the same time. Mm-hmm. Through the miracles of modern technology, she lived 3 weeks. And in that 3 weeks, this amazing mom regaled what those 3 weeks meant to her to have the ability to have the support of the house. So she was able to be at her bedside. She was able to be there every day and could just simply walk down the hall to grab something quick, grab a shower, and go back. And one day, as she was switching with her husband, she walked back to their room and she looked down and realized, I've been in these clothes for 3 days. And she got back to her room and realized that the staff had helped by doing their laundry and having everything freshly folded on their bed. And she was sharing this story, and it was so powerful. And I remember I had to follow her speaking, and I was a hot mess. I had tears and the whole bit, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. So took the podium, went to the podium and said, I have prepared remarks, but there isn't anything I can say that could be anywhere near as profound as what you just heard. And I sat down, and the first thing that went through my head is, I'm sure the board members were thinking, well, that was a really good pick. Mm-hmm. But the most important thing was that the power of what she had said resonated so much. I left that day and drove home and thought, 3 weeks, I can't even imagine how you put a lifetime into 3 weeks. And then it hit me that was 30,240 minutes. And that's what we gave her back, was every single minute of that little girl's life. Mm-hmm. Powerful stories that still make me very emotional 2 years later.
Yeah, I say on the air a lot, I'm sorry this isn't a video, because you can see joy in people's eyes, or you can see them tearing up a little bit, which this was the latter. Well, JoAnne, on the phone we have a fellow by the name of Pietro, and he has a personal story about Ronald McDonald House and how it's helping him in a very relevant and current way. Pietro, welcome to the No Nonsense Roundtable.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Tom. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Well, tell us your story. I know you're going through some time now where you need the services like this.
Yeah, it's been a challenging time. We've been here for about 8 weeks, and I'm here with my daughter, who's going through some medical treatment, and Ronald McDonald House, made it possible for us to be here. But it's also been really heartening just to be around other people who are kind of going through something similar in terms of having, a child who's sick and the kind of stuff that goes with it, emotional sense of, vulnerability that comes with that. And so we felt very, very supported. It's kind of, it feels very much like people helping people here. Mm-hmm. The staff is infinitely kind and infinitely patient, and there's this tremendous sensitivity to that everybody's going through something here, and just everyone is just very gentle with everyone else. People from all different walks of life and backgrounds are here. I met a guy from Canada that had the thickest Canadian accent you ever heard. And then, from like the moment you walk in, you just everything around you speaks to this kind of feeling of support. There are all these kind of, beautiful artwork and words of encouragement on the walls. And there's this box that has this little bag. I call them encouragement bags, I guess. And they're made by school children for the children who are staying here. And so each bag has a beautiful card that says, hey, be brave and be strong, and has candies and things in it. And then, people just from the Rochester community come in the middle of the night and they bring meals, prepared meals. And so you wake up in the morning and you open your door and you can just smell the food kind of wafting mm-hmm. down the hall. And it's kind of like the shoemaker's elves. And so my daughter and I were actually walking along the canal yesterday near Schoen Place, and we ran into this other couple, and they we were sort of chit-chatting and trading backgrounds and things. And the woman said, I've prepared these meals at Ronald McDonald's house. I've come in and done that with my friends. She said, I'm 37 now, and we don't go out, to bars at night anymore. But this gives us a way we can actually come together and do something that gives back to the community. And I said, and she was trying to kind of explain to me how it works. And I said, oh, I know how it works because I'm the person who's eating these meals, and I really appreciate that. So thank you for doing that. And it's amazing, just that in this kind of day and age where everyone's kind of still sort of isolated in our behaviors from COVID and stuff, and online all the time, that people are coming out of the woodwork and actually wanting to connect with other people and help other people. And it means so much, because it's kind of it's like a release valve here. When your child is sick, nothing feels more important than that. And that means everything else, work, recreation, social time, all that stuff falls away. So just to have, a bed to sleep in, not to have to worry about that, food is prepared for you. You just take care of your child, and if you're lucky like I am and you can work from anywhere, they have some nice spots here where you can just kind of hole up and have an endless amount of McDonald's coffee as you do your work. So it's really wonderful.
Well, the thing is extraordinary. You're saying 8 weeks. I mean, that's a very long period of time. And I guess the question I would have is, and I guess I know the answer to it, what would you do alternatively? I mean, you really don't have a lot of choices. And the thing is about the way I see it, any one of us with children could be there. It's not something that couldn't happen to any one of us, and we need services like this, which compels me to support Ronald McDonald House, because it's broadened its scope, and certainly stories like yours are really wonderful. So thank you for calling in. I wish you the best. We'll say prayers for your daughter, and again, I appreciate you giving us a call, and you can let us know how things are going from time to time.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, and my pleasure. Thanks again.
But you're touching people.
Yeah, every day. It's the little things that matter. And in this case, having a minute that can be allocated to just, what do you need? And I hear my staff say it all the time. Families will walk in and they'll say, just breathe. We've got you. Mm-hmm. And you can see that the stress melts away, because there's somebody who's taking care of them while they're taking care of their child.
Right, freeing them up from something they really don't need to have on top of everything else.
Yep, absolutely.
What's the greatest challenge you have? Raising money?
Well, we're post-COVID, thank goodness, but there are still the trails of that. The ability to have, a good, solid support system financially always is any not-for-profit CEO's concern. It's also the fact that, we are in a very critical state. Mental health and wellness is so fragile right now, and we know the need is out there. So we're trying to be as innovative and as impactful as we can to help support our providers as they're delivering care. Mm.
One of the things, I know we're going to touch on it probably 2 or 3 times, is this roundup thing. I mean, that sounds like such an easy way of contributing in such little amounts. I mean, they're not asking you on the kiosk for $5
right.
or $10 or $30. They're asking you for 67 cents.
Right.
And if everybody does that, I mean, if you have tens of thousands of people that can do that, I mean, it's up to a lot of money every day.
It sure does. And you're right. And the beauty of it is that it's almost effortless, because you're already putting your order in. Just hit the button. The button is so powerful.
I think you need a pledge program. I pledge. I'm a little bit of a marketing guy. I pledge. I'll do the Ronald McDonald's House pledge right now. I pledge every time I go to McDonald's that I'll round up for you, okay?
Well, thank you for that. But the really cool thing about that, too, is, it tastes good, do good, feel good.
It tastes good, do good, feel good. Best fries in the world. So what is the next thing for the Ronald McDonald House? Doing another one, building another one, more area? What is it?
So we're looking at, we're doing sort of a needs assessment regarding more family rooms in rural hospitals. That seems to be one of the key areas.
Yeah.
Again,
I can see that.
From a mental health and wellness perspective too, we were the first in the nation to have a family room dedicated to mental health and wellness support. So it's a very innovative chapter here, which is tremendously exciting. But also we're one of 13 chapters right now in the world being considered for what is called a care mobile, which is an opportunity to take a giant coach, convert it, customize it into a way where you're delivering care and you can go into certain areas, regions, and provide care. So we want to build a house within the hospital, we want to build a house on wheels so that the services, everything but sleeping, can be brought into the community. So telemedicine, having the opportunity to have high-end equipment that's necessary for children that are critically ill, that are living in an outpatient setting. So we're bringing care to the folks that need it most, to save them having to come in for a visit or maybe prevent an admission to the hospital.
Talk to me a little bit more about this mental health facility or room.
Yep. So it's a family room. Again, it's intended to really just be a place where parents can come and just gather their own strength to go back to the bedside. Or if their child's in care, receiving treatment, when there might be hours where they really don't have anywhere to be while they're waiting, it's a comfortable place to do that. Again, it's a light, nutritious snack, comfortable place to just close your eyes for a few minutes. There are showers typically that are also located in the area, and laundry facility.
Okay, so it's not an overnight room. So you have overnight rooms and you have these temporary, like, I would liken it almost to an airport lounge.
Yes, exactly. A drop-in. And you don't have to pre-register. You can come down at any time. The hours are posted. And it's a chance, again, to just step away for a moment and then go back.
So when somebody comes to the hospital and they have a child in that situation, does the staff tell them about this?
Yes. Yes, we are lockstep with our partners in care.
So the nurses or the people at the station will say, well, your child's in being looked at or is in surgery or whatever. There's a room down the hall, and it's run by the Ronald McDonald House, and you have access to that. Is that what happens?
That's exactly what happens.
I had no idea.
Yeah. It is a best kept secret. So, the providers and the folks that are actually delivering the care, they know. But what we love with opportunities through UDOM is to let the community know that this is indeed a service that's offered.
But it's not in every hospital then.
Well, it's at Strong Memorial Hospital, Golisano Children. It's at Rochester General and at Unity Hospital through various either family rooms or sleep areas.
You'd love to see it in every hospital, wouldn't you?
I would love to see it in every hospital.
And what's stopping every hospital?
Well, the ability to build them and then sustain them going forward. We can build them, but then it's the ability to have the revenue that's going to take to support them, to staff them and support them going forward.
So you need more contributors and more people to round up. Absolutely.
There we go. And we'll grow.
Well, and that's the easy way to do it. So anybody who listens to the show knows that I'm a tremendous Red Wings fan. They're what an asset they are to the community. So I know you're doing something in conjunction with the Red Wings.
Yes, actually, Dan Mason, Naomi Silver, they're tremendous champions of ours. And we have a Hits for the House, which means for every hit that's made, a donation is made to the Ronald McDonald House. We are deciding what game will be dedicated to the house, but there'll be a beautiful, I think it's already underway, a little bit of a commercial that happens on their beautiful jumbo screen, and some opportunity for information to the community. It's a great way to reach out to the community to tell them about all the good work that's happening.
So for every hit that's made, we get a donation.
So
okay.
Yes. So it's a great way to have the community involved.
Yeah. Well, they are, I say that the Red Wings have woven their way into the culture of Rochester, and Naomi and Dan, they do so many great things for so many different people. Now you have a golf tournament coming up?
We do on June 19th at Arundequite Country Club. So if anyone is a golf fan or would like to get their swings in before the PGA, actually that's after the PGA, but if they want to practice after the PGA, we are hosting that and be happy to have anyone participate. They can reach that through the website as well.
And you have to have other things during the year?
Well, there was another third-party event that's wonderful that happened in March. It's the Section 5 Basketball All-Star Tournament. Mm-hmm. And that has been actually underway for us for 35 years now. We've been only operating for 33. But two amazing gentlemen, Dave Dents and Rich Dibble, have put this on every year. And what it does is the coaches will nominate their players, and it is an event to have Section 5 champions come and play. There's a boys' game and a girls' game. It packs Rush Henrietta High School, 2,500 spectators, and that just happened in March. So a wonderful way for them to come out and support the mission.
So have you seen a change, that being a nurse and having the experience that you do, have you seen a change in the healthcare system over the years? The COVID thing had to be a real problem for this whole thing, right? It
was crushing, I think, from the regard of, the initial onset of it, not knowing what it was, how to manage it well, the impact it had on every community. And then post, or where we are now in the transition back to what is our new normal, it is really still a devastating time. Healthcare, they are true heroes. The care that they deliver every day, and the fact that they are doing it oftentimes with less staff and a higher critical need.
Well, that had to affect children's services too, because the assets had to be used on people that were critically ill and not be there for children's services. Did that happen at all?
What happened more is that people were afraid to seek care. So that was where it really, and so things didn't get addressed when they were early on, so they became more problematic. The thing that we did, our commitment to the community, and this predates me, was the team said we are never turning a family away. So we put families up in hotels because the house had to close. The houses had to close for a short period of time, and we covered the cost of those hotels so families could at least stay in the region to be close to their child.
That's interesting. That's one of those unexpected things that, these unintended consequences you don't know about.
Exactly. And even, today, when we are full, we are still using hotel accommodations for families. It is truly a commitment to the community, or anyone who comes into the community, that we will do our very best to provide them an opportunity to stay close.
So are you saying that if you don't have the capacity for somebody to stay overnight, that you go out and find a hotel room for them? So you don't refuse anybody?
We don't refuse.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. It is truly a commitment to the community and to those that are coming into the community.
So you never turn anybody away?
Not because of the occupancy issues.
Wow. No. Wow. That's extraordinary. I did not know that.
Yeah. The great thing too about that is, the beauty of having someone close impacts outcomes significantly. So shorter length of stay, quicker recovery, more compliance with treatments. The beauty of this is it's evidence-based, and the fact that family-centered care is powerful. Having that child have someone they love and trust at the bedside means that they're going to possibly and most likely improve faster. And when the outcome can't be positive, the fact that we know we have supported that family through this devastating time, that in of itself is powerful. That's
a really great point. The anxiety of the family, the anxiety of the child, that's got to affect their ability to cope with this. And the child having the ability to see the parent on a pretty regular basis or close basis when they need them, it's got to be absolutely invaluable.
Absolutely. And the other thing that we do with the house, the Westmoreland house, is that siblings can come and stay as well with, let's say you have a mother or an aunt who can stay. And then at the end of the day, you can come back and be with your family as a unit. The power of that too. The unspoken successes of this, that family stays healthy and whole, which means they go home sooner, they go back into the workforce sooner, child goes back to school sooner. These are all positive things that come out of just making sure that family has someone caring for them.
Are there certain ages of children where it's a cutoff where you say, well, it's not a child anymore, it's an adult?
21 and under for Westmoreland, and 18 and under for House Within the Hospital.
Oh, that's very generous.
Yes.
I would have suspected it would only be for younger children.
No.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a great support system.
And again, we talk about the retail section of this show. So let's tell everybody again how to get in touch with you and the organization, the website and telephone number if you have it.
Website is rmhcrochester.org, and we are located on Westmoreland Drive. And just come to our website. It's wonderful stories, family stories. We can help you navigate through any kind of support that you'd like to offer. The Make a Meal schedule is up there. So if you want to come into our beautiful kitchen and provide a meal for the families with either your family or your business as a team building, there's also the opportunity for participation through our sponsoring our events. And we will be happy to provide a tour for anyone who's interested in coming to the house.
And being a little bit of a marketing guy, we got to do something like the Roundup for Ronald, or Roundup for Ronald, or Ronald's Roundup, or something or other. You got to make some commercial out of this thing, and just
taste good, do good, feel good. There we go.
Well, maybe you can have a Roundup burger or something. There you go. a special thing. If you have a Shamrock Shake, you can have a Roundup round. So I want to thank you for coming in today. I mean, this has been a tremendous education for me, and I think that a lot of people just don't know. I mean, I have to tell you, I was very excited about having you come in, because this is something that has been totally off my radar, should have been on my radar, didn't know about it. Had some type of an inkling of what you did, but not as much as I should have. So this has been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. And thank you to your listeners.
Okay, gang, if it's Saturday, it's the No Nonsense Roundtable, 10 a.m. on News Radio M 1180. If it's any day that ends in a Y, you can get the previous shows on NoNonsenseRoundtable.com. See you next week.
Thanks for listening. Tune in 10 a.m. Saturdays on News Radio WHAM 1180 or stream at wham1180.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll make more.